Now all of a sudden we're at a situation where the next step is going to be the actual public collapse of the Federal Reserve. We already know that it's been rolled into the Treasury back in April of 2020. We already know that. So the people are going to know that. The gold and silver will be revalued. To what number, I don't know. But there's a lot of people that think $25,000, $30,000, $40,000 for gold immediately. Could be $100,000 in gold. It's an arbitrary number. If you don't own any, it doesn't really matter to you. It just means you're never going to own any, right? Exactly. If you do own it, bam, you just took care of yourself.
But before we get started, folks, make sure you hit the pause button. Okay, go down below. There's a Rumble link. Go over to Rumble and follow us over there. QFS1776.com is, without question, the holy grail of what's to come. Okay, T-shirts. You got to get yourself decorated. This way people will ask you, what is XRP? What is the quantum financial system? What is this? What is that? And you send them where? To QFS1776.com, where they need to immerse themselves, because we're going to burn down this system down to the ground. And out of the ashes will rise the phoenix. There'll be nothing to go back to. Believe me when I tell you that. Unified TV will take over Netflix. We're bringing in the next genre of movie producers and storytellers and actors and actresses. And we're telling the story of how the world is going to be on earth as it is in heaven. Jassara Nasara is coming. Don't make no mistake about it. Gold and silver right down below. Promo code Mel Carmine. Make sure you use the promo code. Almost $8 billion in sales. We're direct to like a bunch of mints. We are the ones that can get you the gold and silver directly to your door, okay, at the cheapest price. Don't even waste your time looking for a cheaper price. It doesn't exist. Also, our Telegram groups down below. If you want to learn what's coming and you're sort of a little scared, I understand. Believe me, I was there too at one point. Our Patriots are literally waiting for you in the room. And if you need more than $10,000 worth of XRP or $1 million worth of XRP, you come see me. Send me an email at QFS1776@gmail, and we'll get you as much as you want. Well, good afternoon, folks. We have the one and only Darin and Gina. Darin and Gina and I started talking early on when I used to have a lot of time, and I was this guy that wasn't even on the map yet, not on anybody's radar. And we used to do what's called roundtables, and we got to know each other, became really good friends, and I can't wait to meet them literally in the physical sense. And I mean, these are just some very smart people that know a lot about a lot. We don't know everything about everything, but everybody's got a little piece of the puzzle, and together we make the entire picture. And they're part of that special letter in the alphabet, 17. You know what I'm talking about? So it's actually 17 after right now, and we're getting started here with telling you some of the stuff that's going on in the debt clock, which is mind blowing. The dollar to gold ratio is 0, and the dollar to silver ratio is 0. Something of major significance is happening. I don't believe it's a glitch. They don't believe it's a glitch. What do you believe? Guys, welcome to the show.
Hey.
How
well,
you doing, Mel?
Looking at the debt clock, I mean, if it was a glitch, they would have fixed it. It's been how many hours? 12, 13 hours. It's been at 0. Yeah. So if it was a glitch, they would have fixed it by now.
Well, yeah, I looked at it first thing this morning before I had my first cup of coffee, and it was still 0. I looked at it in the shower while I was listening to Digital Asset Investor. It's still 0. Okay, it's right. 0.
Yeah.
I don't know how many people actually even think to look at the debt clock. That is something I think everyone should be aware of. I didn't know maybe a year ago you showed it to me.
Yeah, probably.
I didn't even know it was a thing. And I love looking at it now. It's crazy to watch it.
Absolutely. So what's front and center? We're going to be talking also about some of that famous horse paste that we're not allowed to talk about because, you know, the doctors can't do their job properly, and they treat all the symptoms, but they can't, you know, we can't use that word that starts with a C either. So because of that, you know, he's actually lost some weight, and he's had some incredible health benefits. See, I'm all about getting wealthy, but what good is all the wealth in the world if you cross the finish line and you're all busted up and you got missing teeth and you got diabetes and you got all this stuff that's, you're practically 3/4 into the grave. That sucks. You could
Yeah.
take all your billions and trillions and stick it where the sun doesn't shine. It don't mean a thing, right?
Yeah.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
So we're trying to get everybody across the finish line healthy.
Yeah.
We all know what the new world's going to look like, and we're going to manifest it. That there are going to be those healing machines and the stuff that Dr. Sandra Rose Michael is doing, and I know you're doing with what are your place down in Chula Vista? Is that
Chula
right?
Vista, we've been delayed till the end of March, unfortunately. But it is
okay.
we'll still get there. Yeah. 1 month
Without-
free, by the way. You guys are gonna come down and see me?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not too far. San
Yeah.
Diego's our old stomping ground.
Yeah.
So but with all of that stuff going on, yeah, it's we know where the new world's going. We know all the information that's been hidden from the people for such a long time. But getting to this debt clock, I mean, Mel, you and I, we've both seen gold at 45,000. We've seen
48,000.
silver at 8,000.
Yeah.
Sure, and all of a sudden have it at zero. So, is it a glitch, or is it the unwinding of what we believe? Because obviously we can't. The digital assets that we've all placed our bets on, those digital assets can't go to the moon until the current system collapses under its own weight of debt and fraud and deceit.
Yeah. Deception.
So, I mean, at this point, I'm looking at this and just in awe and thinking back. So, going back chronologically, we are where we're at right now. The last major thing that happened in the way of monetary would have been in 71 when we went off the gold standard.
Right.
And prior to that was probably 1933 when they took the gold from the United States citizens. You had to turn in your gold. People at the time certainly didn't realize that it was only for the 10 square miles of Washington, D.C.
Right. Everyone thought it.
Everybody thought that. They thought you need to go turn your gold in to the local post office or Federal Reserve. Turn in your 1 ounce of gold, get back your $26, $27, and then they quickly revaluated it to $35, where it stayed there for 70 years at $35.
That was the beginning of the manipulation.
So, or maybe not 70 years, whatever that is, 40, 50 years anyways, where it just stayed exactly constant without any movement at 35, $36. So going to zero, I'm thinking that's the coming off the gold standard, gone. Now we're going back to 1933, being able to take this off of the where Americans were not able to hold gold. Now all of a sudden we're at a situation where the next step is going to be the actual public collapse of the Federal Reserve. We already know that it's been rolled into the Treasury back in April of 2020. We already know that. So the people are going to know that. The gold and silver will be revalued. To what number, I don't know. But there's a lot of people that think $25,000, $30,000, $40,000 for gold immediately. Could be $100,000 in gold. It's an arbitrary number. If you don't own any, it doesn't really matter to you. It just means you're never going to own any, right?
Exactly.
If you do own it, bam, you just took care of yourself. If silver, same thing. Silver, $23 an ounce. No, try 600, 6,000 or more per ounce.
And it's not just, I mean, if you think about silver, it is used for a lot of different things, right? So the value of silver may be even higher. I mean,
absolutely.
It's used in a lot of components.
They say there's eight ounces of silver coming out of the ground for every 1 ounce of gold. So that in itself should give you an 8-to-1 ratio. Then the fact that half of all the silver that comes out of the ground is used in industrial application, it's gone forever. So now you're at a 4-to-1 ratio. I think if you did your math on gold to silver ratio right now, it's 70 plus ounces of silver to 1 ounce of gold. So, I mean, the return on investment is through the roof.
Staggering.
Yeah.
And it's a great way for the average guy or gal out there that doesn't want to have the headache of dealing with the technology of,
Yeah.
the wallets and all this craziness that we're all involved with these digital assets. Buy some
Totally.
gold and silver. Okay.
Totally.
Buy some gold and silver. And that's very easy, very simple. You can go to Miles Franklin, use the promo code Mel Carmine. The links are right down below. And you're done. You're in business. You don't have to worry about buying XRP if you don't want to, but at least hedge your bet. At least get into something that you're not going to get slaughtered when this thing comes rolling into town.
And Miles Franklin is awesome. I mean, for the last it's been several years since I've bought any, but when I was getting everything in place, I used them for the last couple of years, and always honest, always easy, deliveries right on time, everything was simple.
Yeah.
And you're right about silver and gold. It's a no-brainer because you're able to buy it, set it aside. I mean, what are we talking about? A couple of shoe boxes would be 30, 40 pounds. You couldn't it doesn't take up much space. It's super easy, it's always accessible. And there's nobody else to touch it or mess with it, like depositing a check in the bank and then realizing, oh shit, that's actually the bank's money now. It's not my money anymore. Because that's the truth. I mean, people will find out about bail-ins and other kinds of actions that these banks, these financial institutions have over us.
Mhm.
It's all the little legalese, the little fine print down at the bottom that we never read. We just push and move on forward. That's just kind of how our society is for the most part.
Yeah. Well, when I did my interview with 107, he said, well, do we go in and try to save the engine, or do we let the engine sputter out? I think they're going to let it sputter out. Where are you guys?
Yeah.
I believe that.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty difficult to get somebody to step out of a perfectly good boat into a new boat. You got to burn that first boat down and have people like the Titanic. They're swimming for safety. It might be a rowboat, or it might be another big cruise liner, but I'm swimming to the next one frantically. It's
Sure.
the nice thing about what you're talking about, Mel. You've been honest and truthful from day one, that you're telling people what's going to happen because you've done the research. You can see all the dots. These and I know most of the audience is in the same situation. They actually do the research. They don't just listen to something and go, okay, that's what's happening.
Right.
They think for themselves. But taking yourself up to a little higher elevation and looking down at all the pieces of all the different stuff going on, and you can see that it's an absolute movie that's happening right now. And the movie's not for us. The movie's only for us to sit back and grab some popcorn. That's pretty much what the movie is for us.
You're talking about it sputtering out too. I mean, if you think about it, they're not going to have to blow. It's blowing itself up. Look what's happening.
It's like the same old adage. You don't want to interrupt your enemy when they're hanging themselves. Let them hang themselves. Exactly. Let them gasp for the last breath of air. And then go in, right?
Do to blow it up anymore.
Right.
I mean, it's a disaster. It's just going to keep happening.
Yeah. I think Richard Citizen is doing a fabulous job. Nancy Drew is doing a fabulous job. They're really going above and beyond. They're driving within the outskirts of now what is called Washington, D.C. And all of these corporations are closed as well. There's nobody home. We know that the IRS is out of business. That we're going to hire 87,000 new agents. That was nothing more than propaganda, a scare tactic to get everybody to panic. Anybody who is paying their taxes out there, you got to be crazy, because when you're talking to the IRS, you think you're talking to I think you're talking to a law firm that's posing as the IRS, but I don't think you're talking to the IRS.
I agree with
you. If I give you tax advice, you should definitely call your public accountant. Sure. But I'm telling you, I would avoid those guys like the plague. I have had dozens of people on my chat say, Mel, I was on hold for an hour and 45 minutes, and they put him, 20 minutes. Oh yeah, well, how are you, sir? I moved to another call and put him on hold for another 35 minutes, an hour and 45 minutes, and then at the end they hang up. Nobody is home.
Yep.
Nobody.
No.
Well, I didn't actually realize that it was voluntary to pay taxes. It states right. I mean, if you go through and read, Darin and I were
think
just
it's
talking about this.
US 20, I believe it is.
Yeah.
And you can look at, and it's right on the government website, US 20, 25, 26. And it actually states that it's a voluntary action.
It's
voluntary.
insane.
I mean, we've talked about this. I know that you've seen Freedom from Fascism with Russo.
Aaron Russo.
And how old was that? That's got to be 12, 15 years
14
old.
years old, 15 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah, I talked to Aaron when he was running for the Senate seat in Nevada, and I talked to him briefly for maybe an hour or so, maybe a couple of times. A really cool guy, very down to earth. Man, when he came out with that movie, I spread that thing around like chicken pox.
Yeah, yeah. And people even, there's a lot of people that I guess two different types of people. They see something, they agree with it, and then they go right back to sleep.
Yeah.
Right.
Or they see it and they go, what? And it just it makes them, it pisses them off, where they actually want to do more research and more research, until you realize, because nobody wants to be the guy who is talking about Sasquatch. Some crazy that's talking about Sasquatch. Nowadays, if you told me Sasquatch is your neighbor, I just have to wait till I see it, because I wouldn't say no, because everything else has been nonsense also. But it's going through the the IRS, the Federal Reserve, all the different apparatus of the federal government right now. The 15 votes that it took for the supposed Speaker of the House. Yesterday we had the body cam footage of the Paul Pelosi's house.
Did you see that?
I did. The one where she falls down the steps, or he falls down the steps.
No. The guy with the hammer.
The hammer?
Paul
the hammer.
Pelosi.
Yeah, I saw the hammer too. Yes, I saw that.
So we're sitting there. I'm saying to Gina, I said, well, what person that has, I don't know, $400-500 million of wealth and has for decades, has a house that you can just walk right up to the front door? And your wife is the third most important person in the federal government, and at your own residence, you don't have any security there,
brother.
It's all a movie,
brother. They are degenerate alcoholics. These guys drink like a quart of vodka for breakfast.
I'd imagine.
Sure, they probably do. I mean,
by
if you
lunchtime, by
Pelosi,
lunchtime, if you light a cigarette in front of these people, they're liable to go up in flames.
Yeah,
I'm not serious. This is who's running our government, which is the scariest part. Jimmy Valley, you were talking about his partner who's been on Michael Jaco. I want to get in touch with that.
And I can't remember his name. I apologize, but it's super, super interesting. I mean, here's Val Hill Capital. For all of us XRP people, we know Jimmy Valley, and so here you've got this very straight-laced mergers and acquisitions attorney with all the accolades, with multi-billion-dollar deals under his belt, lots of them. Mm-hmm. And so you go, okay, so this guy's real. And then all of a sudden I run across his business partner, or one of the directors there at Val Hill. And this guy is former special forces in Britain. Right. And so now, and he's all about the Nasara Jassara and all about the Q movement and all of that stuff. I mean, he's the 17th letter, I should say. Yeah. And so, I mean, it's like, none of this stuff is, these aren't weirdos. These are extraordinary people, actually, high intellect, high achievers. high net worth, makers, that type of thing. And to think that all of that's wrapped up into this little company down in Texas, I think they are, and they're doing the things that they're doing with the XRP buyback, which I mean, I don't necessarily expect to go turn in my XRP, but if I get the call, I'm ready. So
Well, they're probably going to give us at least 90 days to turn it in.
I
I'm
was
sure
gonna
it's going to be like, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you
Yeah.
how long you thought it would be, because we were talking about that last night.
Well, I mean, when you had XRP Lion on, and we're talking about the dollar amount, the predetermined dollar amount, it makes sense that everything is already done. I mean,
Well,
just like we're watching the
threw
movie.
a
I mean,
big number out of $562,000 buyback, and supposedly he has permission from Jim Valley to come on my show to throw that number out. And I nicely, in a nice way, asked him, "Are you on some kind of medication?" And he says, "Only high blood pressure once in a while."
right. Yeah, it's crazy. But one of the things that Jimmy had talked about was that we're all familiar with the take the red pill or the blue pill.
Mm-hmm.
Take the from the Matrix movie, but he also talked about that there's a black pill, and that's this very dystopian future.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be the Klaus Schwab World Economic Forum
XRP 1.0.
Totally. That, hey, it's going to be okay. They're going to let us get rich too, and we're going to ride on their coattails of their evil. Right? That's not how it's happening.
No.
Jimmy described how if there's a black pill, there's a white pill, and that white pill is that going into to this beautiful future where basically we stand up, wake up, and as a collective, and start manifesting and making this stuff happen. The ultimately the med beds, Elysium, from the movie, that style where there is no sickness, everybody's healthy. Until we get there, there's going to be steps until we get there. So we can take that into our own hands and not rely on doctors,
Big pharma.
Those types of
Medical
things.
freedom is important, and people have forgotten how to take care of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Darin and I were just talking about several different things, but knowing we were coming on your show to talk about the horse paste, can't call it what it is. I started doing some research.